What's up, everyone? How you doing? Welcome to the show. We're going live here on Insane Throttle, baby. Yes, by Felicia, I say. The Harley Davidson CEO is gone.
Rev the engine, hear the roar. Bite the truth down to the core. Hollywood's voice cuts through the haze. 30 years in the outlaw maze. Insane throttle, no lies, no frills. Riding hard through the biker thrills. From the clubs to the open road. Real talk, man, the story's told.
What's up? We got the beautiful China doll in the house, man. You're getting Motorcycle Madhouse on this channel today. And Hollywood is actually really happy right now with the news coming out of Harley Davidson. If you haven't got it yet, man, Power and Betrayal is out. Get over to Amazon. We put a special pricing out there for the release for it, so get it while it's cheap. Anyway, yes, you sent this news story, and I was like, holy cow.
I was surprised you didn't know about it before I did.
I haven't been watching Harley stuff.
It was one of the top stories in the New York Post. It was top story in 3 separate news feeds that I follow. And I was like, really? He gone?
He gone, man.
Bye.
Puma man is going.
Your shoes ain't that good anyway.
Nah, you know what? I hated their Puma shoes, man. I really don't like
Not
them.
a fan, not a
No.
fan. I used to wear them all the time, but recent years, them things fell apart within 3 months. They ain't that good.
Oh, Jochen, man. He is the CEO of Harley Davidson, and he just put in his walk-in papers, and he was quoting that the lack of sales as well as the new tariffs kicking in, he gone, man. What do you got with the article? Let's listen here.
Well, how do you pronounce his name?
Jochen Zeitz. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. All I know he's German.
Well, he plans to retire this year, and the company said yesterday, ending a 5-year tenure marked by efforts to revive the American motorcycle
You know what?
maker
Instead of
struggling.
Instead of reviving it, I think he killed it. I really do.
I'm starting to agree with you.
The boycott has still been ongoing. He Bud Lighted Harley Davidson. I know I've been in articles with Fox News and stuff when we were talking about it when it was really hitting hard with their DEI. This is what happens when you get somebody from Germany trying to run an American freaking motor company. They try to, apply all that globalist thinking to what is going on over here. Did you really think that Harley, of all companies, core base would agree with what he was doing? Hell no. They said, we don't need it. No, you're supporting this initiative. You're supporting that initiative. So, no, we don't need you.
Not in the slightest. No.
I remember
And
my
my
phone going crazy with that.
My question is he retiring in his own will, or was he
You
forced to
You
retire?
can tell that he's being forced to retire. My freaking worry is if you look at the board of Harley Davidson, they're all filled with BAI. That's all they believe in. There's nobody that actually rides a motorcycle there that really loves Harley Davidson. We all know, they got to make sure that their stockholders, all that, are happy. We get it. But none of them actually have the love for the motorcycle. So they're going to put somebody else in there, and it's going to continue. And, I remember when all this was going down with the protest, I said, I don't think this thing's going to be around in 10 years. And all they've been doing is going downhill, downhill, and downhill since.
Well, there is a direct quote
Oh, we got a quote.
Joaquin has done a nice job of shrinking Harley's global footprint and refocusing the company on its core touring bikes and large cruisers.
Shrink their global fingerprint. Yeah, there's a way to go.
Unfortunately, the industry has been challenged by several factors, including higher interest rates. At the same time, customers appear to prefer smaller and more affordable bikes, which is not Harley's strength. This was said by Raymond James analyst Joe Albelto. I don't know.
It ain't Harley Davidson's strength. Yeah, they own 50% of the bike market in large cruisers. But anything under 1,200 cc's, they get blown away. And look what they did to the Sportster. It's ugly. Nobody wants to ride that. I think he destroyed it. And I think Hardwire was right. It went from a macho manly company who tried to get younger people in to forcing out hardcore current following. You can never, ever, ever, ever go against your core customer base. And that's exactly what they did. They hired somebody with a European way of thinking for an American company that's iconic like Harley Davidson. You cannot bring European ideas over here in a company like that. And if you look at, what was it, last year at Sturgis, nobody wanted to even be around the Harley booth.
No. They're about as empty as the Bud Light one.
So they're still reeling from that. And now you do have the tariffs that are kicking in. I think they really should start focusing on, say, India, who wants to work with us. The European Union automatically went after them. So get into the Indian market, but you're going to have to get smaller size bikes, man. I think that, don't you think that's always been a problem with them? Because look at you, you're a little thing.
Yeah.
You'd never be able to ride one of the cruisers.
Oh, I can't even hold yours up.
So why not come out with and compete? And that's where they've lost since the 1980s. You're always wanting to make these big damn bikes. You're going to have to diversify your lineup, man. You're going to have to get smaller damn bikes. Kids don't want to ride freaking baggers.
No, I usually don't see the market for people buying baggers until mid-30s, early 40s.
Not even 30s, it's 40s and to
Well,
50s.
I know a couple people that are in their late 30s that do have touring bikes. But it's because of the fact that they travel a lot on their bikes during the summertime. And they carry a lot of stuff. But other than that, yeah, I'd say 40s and over. So if they're trying to target the younger age bracket, they're not going the right way with these bigger bikes.
No, they're not.
These younger generation want the smaller, the faster, they're in the need for speed kind of bike.
And that's what, and this CEO even admits, he was focusing more on the touring bike.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're wanting to bring in younger people, you can't focus on that. You got to be able to do more than one thing at a time. That's been Harley's weak point, if you ask me, forever, is it don't know how to read the sport of motorcycling.
Well, during his little 5-year strategy that he had tried to implement, his main goal was prioritizing the high margin products.
And that's not something that younger people can afford.
And then, of course, modernizing the brand's appeal.
And that modernization is drove people away.
Well, and if you want to modernize the brand's appeal, then you got to get the new riders to want to purchase a bike, make it where it's affordable, and like we were saying, avoid the touring bikes with the younger generation. But if you go, okay, let's just say like the Harley Sportster, that's not even financially affordable nowadays than it was prior to him coming aboard.
Well, this is true. And if they were actually reading the room, you would have said to yourself, hey, Harley, why haven't you got a rocket out? Even Triumph has done that. This is what these kids want. Give them a rocket.
Yeah, definitely. Something similar to one. Something with the same kind of speed. You can have a modernized look as far as all the chrome and everything that the people like because they love the shiny. Gotta have the shiny.
They did have B-Rod and all that stuff. The Buell they had. But I don't think that's the style that they're actually looking for. They're looking for rockets.
You think they'll ever come out with a rocket?
No, they won't because they're too idiotic where they don't want to diversify the lineup. Year after year after year, it's the same damn models. Oh, okay, we just changed, a little tinker, and we tinkered right here and there. Other than that, it's the same damn bike.
Well, what about something that has the same get up and go like your Road King, but a smaller, a smaller version
You got to
of it?
remember, the Road King is built out. The motor is built.
I know, but
That's not a stock
I'm just
thing.
throwing some thoughts out there.
But you might as well say that Road King's the same as a 2025, because they really do not change anything, and they're going to be stuck in the middle of that age range. And when they pull stupid stunts like they did last year, you're going to turn them away. You got, Indian, it used to be a laugh-at company, but now it's owned by Polaris, and they're just killing it. But I think that they're going to put another dork in there as CEO, and it's really not going to work out. And these tariffs are going to kill them overseas.
Well, Harley said that the board has said that they have launched their initial search to replace him, and that he is going to remain on the board until a successor is named.
Well, that's fine and dandy.
So-
Instead of looking around, they need to look around in the United States.
Yeah, I agree. Find somebody from the U.S.
We don't need the European thinking people coming over here to try to run our an American company like this.
And I think that's where they first went wrong.
Well, you're dang right, they did.
Bringing somebody. I mean, okay, he built up Puma. And
shoes
shoe
and
is different
motorcycles
from
are a lot different thing here.
it's two different categories altogether.
And Road Rage is right, man. Harley's ideal of innovation is changing the name of the same black paint they use and been raising the price by $5,000.
And if you notice, I mean, I'm not the best at being able to tell what bike is what, like between a Road King and this, and that. Like, I walk into a Harley dealership and it's like, I look at all the bikes and without reading the tags, I don't know if that's a Road King, if that's a touring. I have no idea. So I think they need to start making the bikes look a little bit more different.
Well, like Big Joe says, you have a good point. They need an affordable sporty under 10 and maybe produce a smaller frame touring model so riders are small. I really believe they got to get into the 750cc market. I think that's a sweet point for the mid-range bikes, and they got to come in with a rocket. that can compete against Honda, that can compete against Yamaha, Suzuki, because their products, the especially the Japanese, they're reliable. And now that thinking has, I guess, finally passed, where for decades it was you better have a Harley Davidson, to now we don't care what you ride.
Mm-hmm.
And you see more people going for the affordable option, and the affordable option's actually more reliable. You know, if I didn't have the bikes I had now, I'd be on a freaking Suzuki Boulevard. That's actually my favorite bike. And I've always had Harleys. I got 2 sitting out in the garage now. And they're really not my favorite. So what's that tell you?
Plus, you know, if you think about it, when you're buying a Harley, what are you really paying for?
You're just paying for a brand name.
You're paying for the name, you know.
That's all you're paying for.
And there's bikes out there like your Boulevard that you used to have. If people didn't know any better, because not everybody's motorcycle savvy, if people didn't know better, I know numerous people when you had that bike that thought it was a Harley.
And I never tried to pass it off as one.
No, because it's not like you put Harley stickers on it or anything.
And the first thing I know, it's a Boulevard.
Yeah, and you'd tell them no. But it's like people that don't know would think that it was because of the look of it.
And yeah, Ghost Machine, people wouldn't ride the Jab bikes because of World War II. But I think all the generations now are over that. People really don't care what you ride, and that's why you see a lot of gravitation towards Honda, Suzuki, and all them. Because I hate to say it, they make a better product. Don't you think?
I think so.
You know, I think the really only reason why you like Big Red is because you got a comfortable seat.
Yeah.
Other than that, how's the ride compared to what I had as far as the Boulevard?
I think I appreciated the Boulevard a little bit more because of the fact that it wasn't as loud. And we could actually hear each other without having to have headsets. To be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, Harleys are amazing. I'm one of the first ones when I hear a Harley go by, I look every time, never fails. I'm always like, what kind of bike? Every time. I'm the first one to look when I hear the pipes roaring.
Well, Sergeant Grinch, and this is another good point, because there's a lot more people buying them, and you're seeing them all over the place, is the Can-Am Spiders, and he did the Sea to Sky.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are buying them.
You're seeing more now than you've seen them years ago. That's for sure.
And you're seeing a lot of women on them.
Yep.
Which is great. They coming into the sport of motorcycling. But that just tells you how Harley Davidson can no longer live on a name.
Well, what's funny is I'm seeing more women that are purchasing motorcycles. They'll go either with a Spider or a trike. I'm seeing a lot of women, at least in this area, I'm seeing a lot of women that don't even want the 2 wheels.
Well, yeah, because when you have, I'd like to try a Spider. It'd be funny. I don't think I'd look any good on it, but it'd be funny because anything with wheels, I like you.
Let's go somewhere and see if you could test drive it, and I'll videotape you.
Yeah, I do a show on it. Next thing you know, hey, Hollywood's on a Spider. I bet those are comfortable as hell.
I don't know. To me, they
for a
just
long
look weird.
distance ride.
Weird.
I think it would be a real comfortable ride. A lot of us bang on them, but at the same time, us older guys are like, shut up, stupid. You get one. you know you'll get one. You don't lie. But all that macho stuff, is going out. I think Generation X really is the last of the hardcore Harley stuff. Now it's just like, man, give me a 750. Give me a Shadow. Even my Shadows were cool.
I agree.
But you know, I think you're right. With as far, you know, the thump 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 was always, it used to be cool.
Yeah.
But now it's like, dude, I can't freaking hear a thing. Shut up, stupid.
Well, it's like the Harley needs to, okay, go towards the younger generation, but hey, what about the women? Give them something smaller that looks nice and they want to be out there riding.
Well, they think their Sportster is going to do that, and I don't think so.
You know, I personally, as a female, I wouldn't want to purchase a Sportster because when we were there, you know, at Kegel not too long ago, I looked around and I seen their new model Sporty.
Oh, my God, is it ugly?
And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't buy that. No.
Well, my sister-in-law, she has a Magna, and that's the type of bike that women gravitate towards. They don't want these big-ass freaking street glides, and I just don't think that the board of Harley listens to its customers.
They don't.
You're not going to keep riding off of that 1970s or 80s thinking of, well, everybody's a rebel. People are over that. Everybody has changed. And it's sad to see such an iconic brand going through something that's self-inflicted, I think. They did it to themselves. You had a lot of people as the core customers, hell, me and everybody else out there screaming, get a different lineup. And now you look at how they're coming stock with these 117. It's like, dude, come on. Come up with a different bike.
Mm-hmm.
What else they got to say about him?
That he's a doofus.
He's a douche.
Well, I guess Harley in February, their forecast for 2025 profit and motorcycle revenue to be flat to down 5% as consumers temper big ticket purchases.
Well, it's going to get even worse now with tariffs. They're gonna.
I guess they don't have March
spike down.
They don't have
What's up,
March's.
Joseph?
They don't have March's totals yet, but I guess they were down 5% in February.
5% in February, and their stock's probably going to go hover around 22. After all this is done and over, they're probably going to be around 15. I think it's a downfall happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'll have the die-hard freaking Harley riders that, oh, everything Harley does is great. They're going to be out there saying that we're all wrong because they don't want to read what's in front of them.
Yeah.
Now, you watch what Harley does. They'll probably put, you know, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but they're probably going to go out there and try to put a woman in charge.
You think
A
so?
CEO. Hardwire, Hollywood, you was 1,000 correct when you say he was doomed to fail running the company. You can't hire a... And I said that as soon as he got on. I was like, this ain't going to work. There's no way it's going to work. Because the way Europeans look at Americans, like that was the first thing that they wanted, a tariff. When they wanted to fight us. I wouldn't doubt it, OJ, putting Dylan from Bud Light as their CEO. I wouldn't doubt it.
Mulvaney.
Yeah. People don't realize how bad the boycott against Harley is. Even though they changed their way, they claim it's still bad.
It is one of our lowest selling beers at the gas
Well,
station.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about Harley. The
Well,
boycott.
but
is-
I'm talking about since the Bud Light, lovely, fabulous thing that went on, and then Harley kind of went the same route
Well, that's what I don't understand. Why they would even try that.
after they saw what happened.
And the reason why they thought it was all right is because he's from Europe. That's their thing over there. They don't understand here. And I think earlier we said it, they got to start freaking changing it up a little bit. Oh, we got a paint job over here. Yeah, we're going to push our CBOs. Nobody has money for that. Nobody has money for that kind of stuff. And especially now, people don't have money.
They need to change up the style. They need to change up their paint jobs. Their paint jobs, you walk in there, they're all painted the same.
Well, like you said, you can't even tell the difference between the
can't.
models.
I can't. And I mean, I've been around bikes
Triumph, I
for
love
over
Triumphs.
30 years, and I cannot tell the difference between the bikes. I have to ask you or read the tag that's hanging on the bikes on the showroom floor.
So something like that is not a good thing.
No.
When your
I mean,
customers don't even know, the different models.
No. And it's, I mean, I know a lot of people, they know all about their bike. They know what their make, model, the whole 9 yards. But when they walk into a showroom, they ain't got a clue.
And Raccoon, the majority of Harley's customers base is in the nursing homes and the graveyard. It's sad to say, but, when you got an older customer base, you're always going to have that base of customers in that age range for Harley. You're always going to have the 45s and up. But those ain't the ones that are really into the sport.
Yeah.
You'll find a lot of these people are there to look cool.
Mm-hmm.
How many have you seen like that? Come on.
You know how many I seen that are full out Harley gear? Everything says Harley as they're on their Harley. And it's like they're only out for the name.
And one of the signs that everybody should have saw was when they started going to a 50, hell, I'll even say 60 or even 70% of their businesses and dealerships are freaking closed.
Well, I mean, even
Should have seen the writing on the wall with that one.
I mean, we've gone to a few dealerships, and when we've gone in them, it's like the majority of their dealership is the clothing section.
One of the things I can't stand that happened with them is they don't realize a lot of people that are core don't go into these big dealerships that look like Disneyland and think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us just love the small freaking dealerships because you had more of a connection with them than you do with these big, behemoths. You're talking, it costs millions upon millions upon millions of dollars just to freaking build the dealership.
Mm-hmm. Dirty Knob says they should just put a Starbucks in the dealerships and call it what it is.
You know what? Basically, yeah. They should put, a Starbucks in there. Which, hey, if you like Starbucks, cool. Us older guys that are a lot more hardcore that live this day to day is going to be like, yeah, a bunch of rubs. But hey, if you got to do it to sell, fine. That's the freaking reputation you want now. That's not for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to keep going so far where you alienate everybody because you got a guy from Germany. I don't think they're going to recover from that boycott.
I don't either.
I really don't think they're gonna. Half the old school dealers in Canada closed because they didn't want to do the $1 million or multi-million-dollar. And that's the thing with the showrooms is, and at our local one, you're lucky to see a bike. Did you see how empty that showroom was?
No, the last time we went there, yeah, maybe about 8 bikes, 7, 8 bikes, and that was terrible. 5, 6 years ago, there'd be like 40.
And what's funny is their showroom is smaller than the clothes store.
It is. It's like half the size. Literally half the size. Now, what was the one that we went to? Was that St. Charles?
Yeah, St. Charles, Fox River Valley, I think it was.
Oh my God! Now that one,
That was a Disneyland.
that was like Bike Haven.
But did you
and the
notice
clothing
what-
section there was like minimal.
Yeah, but did you notice when you walked in, nobody said a word to you?
No, it was so. Yeah, no.
And you'd be lucky to find an employee or a salesperson. You'd be lucky.
You had a hard time because we were looking for a part for the bike. And it took us 30 to 45 minutes to find a salesperson to even look for the part.
Yeah, because the parts counter was empty.
There was no one there. And we'd go to another counter, and then they said they'd get somebody for the parts counter, and it's still 30 to 45 minute wait just to have them find somebody for the parts counter to look up your part. And then it took another, 20 minutes before they could even locate the part? It's like that whole thing just took us an hour.
For nothing.
For a part.
Now, if I would have went into the old Wildfire, which was just a freaking dump inside, a little standing thing, I would have had it in a heartbeat.
You would have had it in like less than 10 minutes. But you go to these huge ones, and you can't get no help, no service.
I'd be upset if I was a franchisee because they're actually making them spend that kind of money for these dealerships. And with how they're going right now, it's going to be pretty hard on these dealerships. Because their sales are already down 5% this year. And we're not trying to bash on Harley. We're just throwing out, what we see. And that's what's in the numbers. And if you can't sit there, and those are the people I hate, are the cheerleaders. You can't say anything wrong about a Harley Davidson. I see them all. You'll see the freaking comments in this video. You can never do anything wrong, Harley. Oh, you're not an expert. Oh, okay. Well, what's your plan? I don't know, but Harley Davidson rocks.
Yeah, well, Harley Davidson's gonna not gain the younger generation when I see a lot of the younger generation pulling up on Hondas and Kawasaki's. Because why? They can afford it.
Well, if you look at comments on the internet about the, some of the stuff that I cover, there's a whole different perspective that they have. They actually, why don't you get on your bike, Grandpa? That Harley. That's the way they look at it. Go, Grandpa. You got to change that kind of mindset. Don't forget Power and Betrayal. We're going to go to a quick commercial real quick and come back. We're going to keep on talking. But, yeah, Power and Betrayal, I made a special price of $10.99 for the book. It will be going up in a couple weeks, but that's an introductory price for y'all. It's on Amazon right now, so get on over there and get that. Or you can go to InsaneThrottleBikerNews.com and you can order an autographed copy of one. It's here, Power and Betrayal, my raw story of the biker life, motorcycle clubs, organized crime, and the streets that shaped me and broke me. From brothers to enemies, I saw it all. Streets soaked in blood, freedom lost to steel bars, This is the unfiltered truth, risk, death, and lessons carved in the game. Release now! Get your copy of Power and Betrayal over on Amazon or any other online bookstores. Read the real story with me, James Hollywood Machikard. Available on paperback, Kindle, hardcover, and audio. Rock. Join the insanity by becoming a member of the Insane Throttle Club. Get hundreds of members-only videos and hundreds of hours of members-only content. We have 3 affordable levels: Hang Around, Prospect, and Full Patch. Each level helps support the channel and all of our biker content. Get content of interviews with the who's who in the motorcycle and biker lifestyle scene. Subscribe on the Insane Throttle YouTube channel now and get access to the members only today and become part of the insanity. Rock on. All you have to do is click the join button over on Insane Throttle to become a member. We got stuff starting at 99 cents for a membership. And what that does is enable you to get the biker angle with myself and Black Dragon on Sundays. When we go into members only session, we sit there and just chill and talk to everybody within the members only. We get a lot closer, get to know everybody. So go over there and join the members only deal. I know I did a video the other day. I think it was actually yesterday with that shooting down in Florida. The second story was the Triumph. You got to admit you love a Triumph. You don't like the older ones because you almost fell off of that one.
Oh, the 77 Bonneville that you had? Yeah, nice. Yeah, the backrest. Mm-hmm.
She always up on them backrests. Yeah.
Dude, that one was terrible. I didn't know where. Oh my god, that thing went to my tailbone.
And it wasn't.
You hit a bump. I landed on it. What was that? No. It was a nice bike, though. I will say. It was a nice bike, though. Except for that. Other than that, it was
Let's look
nice.
at some of this, and you'll see this, because this is going to prove my point. MCN, I always look at motorcyclenews.com. Right there, you're seeing, Beamers are also a popular one, more the adventure type of deal. But look at the bikes right there. Just looking at them. Harley can't compete. You got the Infield Classic 350. Or, the Honda CBR 1000RR.
What is that Suzuki? That blue one.
That's a GSX 1250F.
It's kind of cool looking.
It is.
Not going to lie.
That's one thing I can say about the Japanese is every year they change it up a little bit. You got a KTM 1050 Adventure. Harley, I got to give it to them. They came out with a Pan America, which is awesome. But other than that, they really haven't got away with the way they design stuff. And, it goes into the Speedway stuff, Ducati Street Fighters, V2S. It's like, hey, Harley, you can't pick up and type in motorcyclenews.com and see what's going on out there. Then you can go to the latest reviews on this one, and there's your reviews of telling you what's going on out there. They're reviewing the Street Fighter V2S, the Yamaha, what was it, the MT-07 or 07? And that's right there. It's a super popular middleweight naked just get it on type of bike, and that's what they're buying. And you're not even competing in the 750 market. Now, something like that, you'd be able to hold up probably.
Probably.
Dude, that thing's beautiful. Look at that thing.
It's pretty nice.
That thing is beautiful. This is the
mean,
first time I seen it.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, and it's like Harley's thing. Their concept seems to be go big or go home. As far as their bike selling, they always go and lead you to the bigger bikes.
Well, that's what they want to do. Yeah, they want to.
But then they have to look at who they're leading to that bike. If it's a small person like myself, don't go bringing me over to like the touring bikes. Because are you kidding me? Let me
Well,
try
one
and
thing I
hold
hate
that
is,
up.
Oh, we can put you in our motorcycle class. Yeah, huh? When I look up biker news, you see your face. Well, I'm king of biker news. I started it. You know what I mean? Then you got all the people that want to try to, replicate me or duplicate me. They can't compete against Hollywood and biker news. That's your substitute when I'm not around.
Steve, we know very well about Kegels. We're not too far from them.
That's Steve, that's my go-to is,
Kegel.
hey, Jenny. She loves Chinatown more. Kegel's our go-to. That's our local dealership over there. And they've been around a lot longer, actually, than 1954. They're one of the oldest Harley Davidson dealerships in the company.
Yeah.
So when you start losing that towards, we got to make them build bigger and more spacious, if you will, dealerships, you're going to drive ones like that out of the business. But just looking at, here is the Triple Tree or the Speed Tree. This is one thing Triumph did great was they didn't stick to the old. They got a mix of the old and the new in there. That's what they want, these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that thing. Damn, that thing is gorgeous. You see that thing?
Yeah.
My big ass couldn't ride it, but damn, I would have when I was a kid.
It's nice.
That was nice. They got some absolutely gorgeous bikes out there now. Let somebody go up to somebody that's riding that kind of bike and say, oh, it's not a Harley. Shut up, stupid. Right? That thing looks cool. Even for an old guy like me, it looks cool.
The location for Harley in Rockford has been there since 1923.
Yeah, it's been one of the old ones. Jenny, she wants an Indian. Hey, I have a chance. Free motorcycles for everyone. I don't think people are actually looking for free. I think they're looking for a nicely designed motorcycle. Like I just said, Triumph, they still have their older style, like Bonnies and stuff. They don't call them Bonnies. But they also got, like what you just seen, they're modern as well. They got a good balance right there. And that's what I think Harley Davidson don't have is a good balanced motorcycle line. I don't know why it is that they all have to look the same. Or they don't do any changes. Maybe they should release them every 2 years or 3 years, at least give yourself time to make a new model up. Lighter weight bikes are in, and I have to say that. They are in the lighter weight bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was up to me, I'd give all my bikes up and go back to a Boulevard because they're lighter weight.
Yeah.
The damn bagger out there or the dresser with the Evo in it, like weighs a ton.
And my question is yeah, they want bigger or the better, right? How come the bigger it gets, the heavier it gets? Can't you go big and but like lighter? I I don't know. Just a thought. I don't know.
No more HD for me. One bad gold wing. Look at them gold wings. Now.
Gold
My
wings are
God.
sharp. Yeah, they're sharp. Not gonna lie.
Though you're talking, you know what? That they truly are the Cadillac of the road. The gold wings.
Yeah, they're nice.
They might not be loud or any of that stuff, but they are the Cadillac of the road. Carney's got an Indian. Beezer's got a gold wing. Ricky says he'll take an Indian over a Harley any day. The only thing I got mad about Polaris was, yeah, they're trying to build the Indian brand, but they got rid of frickin' the Victory brand. They should have kept the Victory brand. It would have gave people more choice. And the Victories were badass. The jackpots, the everything like that. I just think they cut off their nose despite their face when they did that. Because not everybody is going to go for the dark horse and all that stuff. Not enough aftermarket support to buy an Indian. And that's one thing I think is going to have to start happening is the diversification of the aftermarket, knowing that, hey, man, Harley, they're losing a lot of, you got to base your business around all the other bikes as well.
Well, I think one of the things I don't know. I'm not one that fixes bikes, but I will help fix a bike. But the newer models, the newer the bike gets, the more and more difficult it is for people to work on it themselves.
Very true.
And I think that they should make it where, like years ago with the Harley Davidson, it'd be easy for you to tinker around with it in the garage.
Well, yeah, the evolutions and all that kind of stuff. Now it's like, yeah, right. It ain't happening.
And so it's like they're making it where you technically have to bring it to them to get work done, which is where they're going to nail you once again with financial cost. They're just making it more and more difficult for the old school people to sit in the garage and play with the bikes.
Well, they also know that the younger ones ain't taking the time to
Yeah, but I
learn
think
how
that's
to
where
work at 'em.
that's where the older generation screwed up and should have had their kids out in the garage with them when they were tinkering with the bikes. Just like cars. The older generation, like our generation, should have their sons and
Black Dragon.
and daughters out in the garages, teaching them the basics on how to keep up a car.
The garage has really been the biggest overlooked thing in this whole discussion. Guys used to get together, women used to get together, just spend a whole day in a garage around that motorcycle.
That used to be my favorite time of the riding season, is just, a few years back, we'd have people over and, all the bikes would be lined in the driveway, but yet we'd all be just chilling in the garage. There'd be like 20 of us and we'd be hanging out in the garage. Some of them would be tinkering with the bikes. Others would be just sitting there drinking, kicking back, reminiscing. And it's like you really don't see as much of that anymore as you used to.
Oh, no, you don't. No.
Because like when Gen X's were little, you always knew where everybody was because the bikes were in the front yards, flipped over, upside down, whatever. And then a couple years back, you'd be able to know where all the guys were because the bikes were all parked out front. And there's where everybody was. It was like the same thing.
So it's a cultural shift that you're seeing now.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's a cultural shift where those type of things are going to the wayside. It was, man, just spending all day just freaking talking bikes, tinkering with the bikes, fixing bikes. And that's something that's really going out of style, I guess you would say, which really stinks. The no grow gold, and let's not forget, you need to learn how to cook. Just got to make you a sandwich. They need to change how they sell bikes as well. Walking into a dealership is walking into a D-bag set. You got no freaking argument with me right there. I can't stand it. Am I right or wrong?
That's so true. So true. It's like you walk in and they're like, everybody's got a chip on their shoulder.
Or they got their nose in the air. And it's like, really, people?
And here's my question. I want to honestly know this. When you walk into a dealership, how many of those sales associates that work at Harley actually ride?
You know what? That's a good question.
Because I know at one of the locations that we have visited, they've got maybe 10 sales associates. I have personally only seen 3 on bikes.
Ouch.
Just saying. I'm just
Ouch.
curious. Because if you sell it, shouldn't you own one?
Well, you at least ride.
I mean, I'm just saying. I was just curious. Anybody else know about any of the ones near you? How many of their sales associates actually ride? Makes you think, doesn't it?
I'm telling you. Don't forget, man, go ahead in the link. You'll see Power and Betrayal's link over on Amazon. Again, I got special pricing over there for you all because it just came out. Get it before it goes up in a couple weeks. Don't forget to join the members only club. BD and myself are on Sundays with the Biker Angle. You get to go into the conversation with the members only. So get on over there. We'll catch you later. We'll be back on the Madhouse channel tomorrow. Join the insanity by becoming a member of the Insane Throttle Club. Get hundreds of members only videos and hundreds of hours of members only content. We have 3 affordable levels: hang around, prospect, and full patch. Each level help forth each channel and all of our biker content. Get content of interviews with the who's who in the motorcycle and biker lifestyle scene. Subscribe on the Insane Throttle YouTube channel now and get access to the members only today and become part of the insanity.
Welcome to 1990 Chicago, where trust is a trap and betrayal runs deep. The Betrayal Chronicles real-life book series by James Hollywood Machkari drags you into the middle of the biker underworld like never before. In Power and Betrayal, a kingpin rises and falls in a storm of drugs and deceit. Then Brotherhood and Betrayal throws you into a fight for loyalty where every choice bleeds. Get the Betrayal Chronicles series now with grit, guilt, and redemption on every page. Available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. Also available is autographed copies by James Hollywood Machkari on www.insanethrottlebikernews.com.